maybe it's a little bit soft porn music soundtrack, because we wanted to give this kind of vibe to the album, because there is a lot of soft porn scene in the movie.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. And to my guest, welcome back to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hello everybody, hello all the metalheads, and I'm Dome, the guitar player in the band called Fulci, like the godfather of Gore, Lucio Fulci.
Dome, welcome back. Thanks for doing this again.
Thank you for having me again. I hope you're doing good.
If you don't mind, how would you describe the music of Fulci? What kind of music is Fulci?
Not easy, but in a word, is like we try to do extreme music with horror vibes. So you can call it death metal, heavy metal, or whatever. But the important thing in the band is this kind of horror vibes that can be in the graphic design, but as well in the music, because we use a lot of synthesizers to make music like horror movies soundtrack.
And the last time we spoke was in 2019, around the time your album Tropical Sun came out. Do you want to tell listeners what's been going on with Fulci since then, in the last 5 years?
Yeah, many things, many things. I can't remember everything, but everything changed in the band. Like, we started as a 3-piece band, like bass guitar, and vocals, and we used to play with a drum machine. But now we are a 5-piece band with a real drummer and an additional guitar, and we did like other 2 albums since Tropical Sun, and like many single songs, and we did also a movie. Like, we co-directed a short movie in 2022 called like our album Tropical Sun, and was a short movie inspired by the Lucio Fulci movie Zombie 2 or Zombie Flesh Eaters. Depends which part of the world you are. And we toured a lot. We had a lot of gigs in everywhere in Europe, US. We've been playing also in South Africa once. So I think many things, positive things happened since then. And Tropical Sun was like the album that make all this possible, because it was very welcome from the death metal fans and fans in general all over the world. So everybody in the metal scene knows that album. So it paved the way for us in the heavy metal community, and also in the horror movies community. So last month we just released our new album that again is based on a Lucio Fulci movie, and this time we choose the movie that is called The New York Reaper, and the album is titled Duck Face Killings. And we signed with a new record label, American record label called 20 Bucks Spin, and this label is very cool, and they are doing a great job on promoting the new album. So we are very happy.
Yeah. And we'll speak about the new album in depth in a little bit. I want to go back to something you mentioned. As you mentioned, when we spoke, you were recording and touring with a drum machine, and now you have a live drummer, Ito. How did Ito become involved? What led you to get a full-time live drummer?
Yes, it happened like naturally, because we did like almost 8 years playing with the drum machine. We did a lot of tours with drum machine, and it was cool because we missed a drum player, but we had on our back like a video screen to screen the scenes from the Lucio Fulci movie we like a lot, and that were linked to the songs, of course. So it was like a real cinematic death metal experience. We love to call like this. But at some point we started to play in larger venues and big stages, even outdoor, like open air. So during the daylight. So this kind of show was not possible anymore. We were during the daylight, three of us on a huge stage, and it was not like a nice show. Like you can perceive something was missing. So we started to look for a drummer, and we asked this guy that is called. His name is Edo. And I told him, look, we really like your style because he's in between death metal and a little bit of hardcore, and he's very groovy and technical drummer. So we told him, would you like to play some gigs with us? Maybe just open air gigs where we cannot use the drum machine because it's too weak, And he told me it was like a Tuesday in the middle of the week. And he told me, oh, yes, of course. I saw that you have a show this coming Saturday. So basically like 4 days after. And he told me, if you send me the set list, I will learn for Saturday. And on Saturday I can play with you. It was an opening show for Meshuggah, the Scandinavian band. So it was a huge show for us. And, on Friday night we went in the rehearsal room, practice room, and he learned the song like better than me, So I told him, look, man, you are great. So if you like, you can jump in the band whenever you like, and play with us. And we started to have some gigs together. Everything was smooth. He's a cool guy. He really fit in the concept of the band. So we proposed him to record the new album. We already wrote the song with a drum machine, but we took some time to rearrange the song with a real drum to give more dynamic to the song. We took advantage of the drummer to make the album even more, punchy and groovy. And that's it. Now Edo is He's in the band actually, and he will tour with us in the next months as well.
That's great. Does Edo come from Caserta, the same town as you in Italy?
No. He's in the north of Italy, and actually everybody in Fulci moved from Caserta except Ando, the other guitar player that still lives in Caserta. But the singer Fiore is in Rome, and me and the bass player are in Milan, based in Milan. And Edo is living nearby Milan. He's from here, this area, so he's from the north of Italy.
Okay. So you mentioned that the live backdrop that you were using when you played live changed when you started playing bigger venues. But I'm curious, was it harder to mic or mix the drum machine live when you were playing bigger venues? Was there a difference in sound?
No, actually, I still prefer to play with a drum machine actually, because because everything is easier. You just go on tour with a very small SD card, with the drumming inside. You put it in the drum machine and that's it. You can go everywhere. Well, with a real drummer, you have all this snare, the kick, the cymbals, and all the it's large, it's huge.
Yeah.
And you have to bring on stage, put the microphone on everything, and do the sounds every time. While on the drum machine, you just hit play, just volume up, and that's it. And the sound is always sharp and punchy, wherever you play, in a small club, huge venue, or open air. The sound is always the same. You don't have problems with room sides or stage sides that you have with a real drum.
Okay.
So
Understood.
yeah. So now we need, of course, when we'll go to play, we need like a sound engineer that will come with us to mix the sounds that we didn't have before with the drum machine, because it was easier.
But your other guitarist Ando is also an engineer, right?
Yeah. He's a sound engineer, and he got his own studio, like recording studio in Caserta, that is called Till Death Recording Studio, and he actually recorded all the Fulci discography. So he's playing in the band officially since maybe 3 years, but actually he's in the band since the beginning, because even the demo from Fulci was recorded by Ando.
How did Ando go from being your recording engineer to being a full-time member of the band, your live guitarist?
Yeah, because we are friends since ages, and as I told you, he was in the concept since the beginning as a producer. So at some point, I wrote a lot of songs where there were like riffs and melodies that where you really need two guitars. So when you record something like this, you have to replicate this on stage, of course. So we needed two guitars during the live set, and we asked Dando to jump in the band also as a guitar player, because he already knew the songs since he recorded the songs. He knew the concept, so it was the first one to jump in our mind, and the best one to fit this job.
do you handle all the songwriting yourself?
Till now, I'm the only writer of the songs musically, but then during the record session, Ando helps a lot with the details and production wise, gives his a suggestion. But actually, the music is written by me, and lyrics are written by Fiore. I mean, he just write the concept of the song, the lyrics of the songs, but then we work together because since I know very good the music, I can try to put the words in the right place of the song. So I do the metrics for the lyrics together with Fiore. So actually, I took care of the main thing, and Ando and Fiore helps a lot, with music details and with the lyrics themes. The only one that is doing nothing is Clem, the bass player. He just come to play, drink beers, smoke, and having fun. That's it. But we like him for that.
He can help carry the drums on stage now.
But he do a lot with the. Sorry, Clem can do a lot with the graphic design because he's a tattoo artist.
Okay.
And he helps with the merchandising a lot. So all the graphics are developed by many artists, but also by me and Clem that give the artistic direction to the merchandising and the artworks and so on.
So let's talk about Duckface Killings. It was released in August through 20 Buck Spin, and as you mentioned, it's inspired by the Lucio Fulci movie New York Ripper.
Yeah, right.
So you've drawn from Fulci extensively, not just your band name, but all the lyrics and artwork for your albums. Why New York Ripper? Why did you choose this movie this time?
Why not?
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I mean, till now, till Duckface Killings, we choose mainly movies where the main characters were zombies, or anyway like dark and gothic themes. So at this point, we wanted to develop a new album with a different vibe. So we were thinking to choose a slasher movie, more like a giallo movie. It was not about supernatural things or zombies or something more real, more about killer. And so the New York Reaper was the best one in our opinion because he's one of the most violent slasher movie of all time, since he's very sadist and violent and sometimes very extreme. Sometimes he's also a little bit erotic, almost pornographic. So it's a very strong movie, and we choose it because we wanted to do a very strong album this time. So if you listen to the music, the riffs are very sharp and like knives, and the lyrics are very violent because they're inspired by a violent movie. The main references for this album were, among the many references, there was the album from Cannibal Corpse titled The Bleeding, where the lyrics and the themes of the album are very, very extreme. And of course, this album was, censored at the time because of the lyrics. So we wanted to do something very extreme, something very aggressive. That's why we chose this movie.
So do you usually have the movie in mind before you start writing the music?
Yeah, when we start, to write new music, we actually start from the which movie. We choose the movie to base the album on, and after we watch the movie again and again because we already watched many times the Fulci movie. We know them, very well. But when we pick the one we want to investigate and develop the album on, we watch it again and again. We try to focus on some details that maybe we missed because when you watch the movie just to watch it, you look at it and you have an experience. But when you watch the movie thinking that you have to write some music on it or for it or based on that story, you watch in a different way. So you start to pick some details that maybe you didn't notice before, and you start to imagine how the story could be developed in a different way, or if there was a follow-up of the movie, what happened, if there was a different ending in the movie. And you start to study all the character of the movie to make like a psychological profile of the characters. And this helps us a lot in developing, of course, the lyrics, but also the music, because with the music you can give the right vibe to the story and to the album. And so that's why this album you have a lot of violent songs, because the movie itself is very, very violent, very cynical, very sadistic, and with no pity for humanity.
You have a few guests appear on the album. Do you want to tell people who shows up, who they can hear on the album?
Yeah, we had some guests that actually were chosen because the things I was saying before, because the movie itself needed something different from what usually we do as Fulci, as a band. So we of course we wanted some hip hop vibes in the album, because the movie was placed in New York of the beginning of the 80s, a city that was fucked up at that time because there was crime, violence on the streets. And in the movie you can see that, and you can perceive that by the soundtrack that is very funky style, so with the brass and saxophones. And this kind of soundtrack was very urban. But if you think to shoot this movie nowadays, for example, what is the best soundtrack to give this urban vibe? And in our opinion is hip hop, is rap music, that gives this kind of urban attitude, urban vibe to the image. So that's why we ask Lord Goat, that aka Gore-Tex, that is a New York rapper from this band called Nonfiction. And all the band is made of rappers, but they are actually metalheads, because they really like metal music. If you look at their logo, it's like a rip-off of Voivod logo, and they are huge fan also of horror movies. So when we asked Lord Goat to appear as a guest in this album based on the New York Reaper, he told us, "Of course, guys, I really know I know well the movie. I know Lucio Fulci, and I really like death metal. So why not?" So it was like a very interesting connection, and it gave the album this kind of urban vibe that is actually very far from the standard, let's say, death metal rules. But we don't care about breaking the rules if it makes sense in telling the story. And also in the album we have Webb from Skinless, the American band, on a specific song that is titled Human Scalp Collection. That it's like, this got a featuring because it's a sort of outsider song, because it's the only song not about the New York River, but it's about another movie based in New York, more or less at the same time of New York River, that is titled Maniac. And we wanted to add this story in the album because we think that Maniac and the New York River are very, very connected. And of course, Lucio Fulci was influenced by this movie also when he directed the New York River. So for to underline this difference, we asked the singer from Skinless to appear in this song. And also we have another featuring in the last song of the album that is called Il Miele del Diavolo, where you have this kind of doomy ending song where at some point there is a saxophone on it, and it gives this kind of sad and painful New York vibe, that we wanted to give to the album. And also we have another band from Italy that is called Dresser Lamorosi in the track that is called A Blade in the Dark. These guys are very cool. They do like soundtracks for movies that actually doesn't exist, but the vibe of the song every time change. They have like crime soundtrack style song, they have a horror style song, they do develop like many kind of styles based on the vibe they want to give. So they ask them to develop a song together with us to give this kind of, let's say, maybe it's a little bit soft porn music soundtrack because we wanted to give this kind of vibe to the album because there is a lot of soft porn scene in the movie. So I think it's one of the coolest track of the album.
When you spoke about the influence of Fulci, the kind of keyboard and like almost synth rock 80s style that he had for the soundtrack is prevalent in some of your recent albums. Do you write out that stuff on your own before you bring in the collaborators?
Yeah, actually, we still do that because we cannot have many featuring in the album. It's difficult so also to involve many people at the same time. So I also write by myself some synthesizers and ambient soundtrack music. And I have like a moniker that is TV Crimes, that you can see every now and then in the Fulci albums, because it's like it's strange if it's Fulci band to do this kind of synths, but if it's someone else that is doing that for Fulci, I think it make more sense. And also, I have this side project called TV Crimes where I do just soundtracks for the movies with that kind of vibe from the 80s and from the 70s, taking inspiration from Goblin, from Claudio Simonetti, or Fabio Frizzi, or Ennio Morricone, mainly Italian soundtrack composers, because we had a lot in the past. And from US, the main influence is from John Carpenter, that in my opinion is one of the best in the world in doing soundtracks. But actually I took influences from everywhere in the electronic ambient music. So we try to put wherever it needs this kind of vibes and sounds in the Fulci albums.
Out of curiosity, what do you use, synth sound you use to get that 80s horror vibe?
Actually, there are many, 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 but the best one are the Uno, the Yamaha ones, and the Jupiter also. The ones they use, recently there was this TV series very famous called Stranger Things,
Right. Yeah.
and they use all these kind of scenes for that, the soundtrack of that TV series, and there were all these kind of keyboards and synthesizer from the 80s that nowadays is very difficult to find and to use that also. I use like just virtual instruments. Actually, I don't have real synths because I cannot afford to buy all the scenes I want to use, and also I have no space at home to store that, and also they're very you have to be a real musician to use that. I do everything by my ear, so I just use virtual instruments that actually give quite good quality to the. Nowadays you can find good quality stuff even if it's virtual instruments, so I think it's okay, and I like the lo-fi tunes, so I think it makes sense for me not to invest a lot of time, because you have to study these kind of things. Sometimes I cooperate with a friend that actually has a lot of real synthesizers, and I write the music, but we play the MIDI input through the real synthesizers, so we can module the sounds and have like real analog synthesizer sounds. And we did this for the last album, Dark Face Killings, so you can perceive that the sound is very deep, and you have a very cool dynamic of frequencies compared to the virtual instruments where everything is a little bit more flat maybe. But it's something that who really studied music and have these kind of skills can understand, but most of the people actually cannot feel the difference, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you went from a drum machine to a live drummer. Do you think you're gonna have a synth player soon too, touring with you?
Would be awesome. I mean, it's my dream since the beginning of the band, but it's not easy to find a synth guy that is also a metalhead.
Right.
So, so it's not easy to find this kind of element that can fit for the job. So sometimes I thought maybe I can switch myself and play by myself the synths and look for another guitarist. Maybe it's easier, but then I will miss playing guitar because I really like playing guitar.
So the album is out now, and in a few months you'll be going on tour. Do you want to say who the tour will be with?
Yes, sure. The tour will be with some legendary bands like Morbid Angel and Suffocation. So we can't wait to play every night with them. It's like a dream coming true, because we were listening these bands since we were kids, and actually they inspired us a lot musically wise. So we are very honored to share this tour with them. And also the package of the tour is very interesting because there are also other bands that has a different style, like Wada that is more black metal, and Mortiferum very doomish death metal, and Null that that they are a little bit, they have a lot of grind and hardcore influences.
Very cool.
So yeah, I think it will be very interesting to share this experience with all of them.
And this is a U.S. tour that's starting on the 15th of November, right?
Yeah, it will start on 15th of November and it will last for 1 month, so till the 15th of December. So we will tour the whole US. We will start in Florida, in Tampa, and we will end up in nearby Miami, in Florida again, but we will tour the whole US.
Very cool. So, Duckface Killings is out now through $20 Spin. Dome, please tell everyone how they can order the album. What's the best way to get it?
Oh, actually, you can order everywhere because I saw that every distro everywhere in almost all the world has this album in their distro. So, but actually, the best thing would be to order from $20 Spin on their website because also the limited edition colors and also the merchandising of the album, that it's with the album cover designed by Wes Ben Scoder, that he did a really great job doing this album cover. He designed many album covers for huge bands like Slayer, like Mortician and Cattle Decapitation, and he did a great job for us. So having the T-shirt with his own graphic is, I think it's very cool, and you can find it only on the $20 Spin store. And of course, you can find other albums on our previous label that is called Time to Kill Records. And if you want to buy the digital albums, you can buy on our Bandcamp. You can just type Fulci Cult on Bandcamp. And you can find also merchandising. We have a US store called Night Shift and a European store called, international store called Serimal. And if you are down to Australia, you can find our patches and some other cool stuff from Pull the Plug in Australia. So we are almost everywhere, and we like to spread the word with the Fulci stuff.
Yeah. And if people want to follow Fulci online, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, we have like Facebook, Twitter, but the best thing would be Instagram because it's the one we follow more often, and we keep it very updated compared to the other social media, because it's always like let's say a pain in the ass to manage this social media. We hate that, but we have to do that. So the best thing is to follow us on the Instagram because it's very easy for us to update that.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I want to say stay death metal and Fulci lives. So thank you so much for this interview.
Grazie, Domenico.
You're welcome. Grazie mille.
Control. dreamed of. Beautiful naked girls right here.